Hi, Galactic Travelers. This is Dee Lee here with another mini Galactic Soul Origins reading for a client named Suzette. The most amazing thing came through when I started to tune into her energy. I found out that this is her first life ever in a 3D body. So she has had many lives outside of Earth in higher etheric states and on Earth in higher etheric states. She had lives in Atlantis and Lemuria, but this is her first 3D lifetime. So when I tapped into her level of density in these past lives, she was living anywhere between the 9th and 12th density in the higher etheric realms. And when I tuned into her chakras, I was able to kind of confirm a little bit of some of the experiences and of depression she's been having in this life. All her chakras were underactive. It was almost as if she's kind of shutting down this experience and needs to embody it more for part of the soul mission that she came here to complete. So when I was tuning into her karma, it was interesting. A lot of times the karma I tap into for people is, they came to heal bloodline karma, or they came to heal Earth Collective or Galactic Collective karma, or past lives, individual past lives on Earth or in other places. But for her, it felt as though she had already healed everything prior to coming here. However, there was a little bit of karma left to heal around the fall of Atlantis when she was here. And it was really important for her to come back here and experience the energy of being here in order to heal that again. So for her, it's more about her mission, more so than healing her karma. And part of her mission is to help others anchor their light bodies into their 3D bodies during the ascension. And this connects to her ancient dragon frequency. She's here to experience life in 3D and to learn this experience, to gain an experience of oneness once again while being here in human form. Since she's so used to having that feeling out in the spiritual realms, now her job is to feel it now in her human body. She's also here to communicate through. She's used to communicating through telepathy as like a highly evolved being, but now she is here to learn to communicate through the spoken language in the human body. And she mentions that language has been a challenge for her in her younger years. She had a communication delay. So she's here to learn to speak through language like we know it. Part of her mission is also the evolution of consciousness on Earth, but it's kind of in a detached way for her. Like, she is helping others just by being here. She's not exactly actively participating in any like spiritual healing modalities, or teaching others and helping others heal that way. She's kind of just has a presence about her that is helping others feel some of that light that she has in her soul. She's also here to rebalance some masculine and feminine energies from the fall of Atlantis. So when I tapped into her soul origin, I was getting a parallel origin between Andromeda and Draco. Her Pluto is connected to Andromeda, and I was tapping into a high frequency elemental plant energy, kind of like when we think of how plants are all connected to each other and they communicate with each other through ways that we're not even aware of yet fully. Kind of how plants can communicate through their roots via underground fungal networks, and they can help heal plants or trees in danger, or who are dying. A tree that is dying can be healed through this fungal network by receiving healing from other trees. So she was very connected to this, support system around her that was always communicating through the natural environment. So as part of this elemental plant energy, she was connected to the rhythms and cycles of the planet she came from. That was really easy for her to do. Debbie Solaris even says on her website that a lot of the early Andromedans came to Earth because they were interested in studying plant life, flora and fauna here on Earth. So we know that this is something that was really valuable to them. And when I told her this, she moved her camera over to her side wall, where she had an entire wall of plants growing near a window. And she said she's always felt connected to plants. When she was a child, she could communicate with them. She always knew intuitively how to garden and keep plants alive. So I felt this was like a really strong connection to her Andromedan origins. But now she's here again, experiencing life in a 3D body, totally disconnected, or feeling disconnected from this network of like-minded souls around her, and she's kind of learning to tap back into that while here in the human experience. So her other parallel origin is in Draco through her connection to Neptune and Etemin. She carries the ancient dragon frequency, and she was a teacher of higher spiritual ideals and laws that just came naturally to her. She was also here to, again, on Earth, using this dragon frequency and energy to help people anchor their light bodies into their 3D bodies during the time of this ascension. Her next step, we talk about Neptune, where she goes to Betelgeuse in the Orion constellation. We know Betelgeuse was not always a peaceful place, and she's part of the Council of Five, or a higher Council of Light in Orion at the time, during a bit of a falling out where, there was a bit of a disagreement between the spiritual elders, and I'm talking about a higher etheric form again, on how to handle what was happening in Orion on the ground with the Orion Empire, the resistance, and the innocent victims. In this particular case, what was the disagreement was around the victimhood consciousness of those who were the innocents. And her take on this was to allow it to play out, allow them to step into their own healing around the victimhood consciousness, while some of the other members wanted to send help and aid and, maybe overhelp too much, according to her. And she experiences this on Earth. She always says when she, sees someone stuck or hurt, she always has an instinct to try to let them figure it out for themselves first before stepping in and overhelping. Then we move on to her Uranus connection conjunct Antares. She was a higher etheric mantis being, and when I told her that she had this insectoid connection, she was like blown away, because she had a dream as a child, which she did not remember until her later years, almost like it was a suppressed memory. She was asleep, and she had a lot of memories of sleep paralysis, but she also experienced this being, this huge etheric light body being that kind of took on the form of a mantis, and she's had a connection to praying mantises, like they'll land in her hair at the gas station, stuff like that. So she definitely confirms this connection. So we know that Antares is kind of a stopway for higher dimensional or higher etheric souls to come and meet. It is also known to be a portal to other dimensions, where people coming from other galaxies or universes could be passing through here. As an Antares starseed, she is able to be an anchor of divine frequency and consciousness just by being present and around other people, and actually just helps people ascend through being here. She then moves on to Saturn, which is kind of midway, if we're talking in linear terms, to her connection to Atlantis and Lemuria. So she came here as an Andromedan to Earth, and she experienced first her time in Lemuria, which she remembers as being peaceful, beautiful, feminine, connected to the land and the earth. And then she experiences, the time of Atlantis, where it was peaceful at first, but it changed. And she actually has memories of being in Atlantis. She knows she was in both places, but more connected to Atlantis and its destruction, where she actually remembers people escaping through the ocean, which I've heard about from other sources and other people's channeled memories. And then into a mountain, or up a mountain, through a mountain. She has actually had visions of this. And it feels like this is where she has a little bit of karma around these beings from other planets who came and eventually started the destruction of Atlantis through their polarized ways of being. And I feel like for her, it's a small bit of healing that is still needed, because she's already healed most of her karma through coming here. But it's almost like by being here again on Earth, where this took place, she's getting a further sense of healing around healing those masculine and feminine energies. She experiences where she has anger that is suppressed, and she's really calm and patient until she's not, and she explodes. So I feel like it's almost finding a healthy balance of expressing your anger, like when you need to create boundaries and people are stepping on your boundaries, and there's actually a healthy expression of anger. You should not judge your anger when you're using it appropriately. So she's kind of dealing with that and balancing that inner feminine flow, peace, connection, unity, harmony, with the need for that more Martian energy that could be considered aggressive. But sometimes maybe there's benefit to that, and you don't always have to judge that part of you or that anger of you so inside of you. So she's learning here. She's here to balance that out again in a 3D body, which feels really important for her to be here on Earth because that's where she experienced the fall of Atlantis. And next we go to her connection in Orion. So she is going back to Orion. Here we have an opposition between Jupiter and Orion, and she's really finding challenges again here, finding challenges in experiencing joy and pleasure. And she's still working in the higher states, but I see her as a reptilian, and she's kind of acting as a reptilian spirit guide to the Orion Empire during the brutal war and division that was being experienced there. So it's like she isn't quite as high in a higher state of consciousness as she started as a dragon, or the plant energy. She's here as a more individualized energy, but she's still in the spirit realm, and she is trying to work with the beings of the Orion Empire to kind of aid them a little bit into being less polarized or destructive. And she doesn't really feel much success when she's here. So when she moves on, she goes to Sirius A, and again, she's in another higher etheric reptilian form, and she does finally ascend here by, with the Assyrian collective, which is known to have ascended by facing the shadow, by integrating all parts of them, calling all parts home, accepting, the darker side of life and existence. And they did this as a collective, and they faced those, the darker side of their society. And this is where she kind of healed everything, came back together again, before deciding to move on here to Earth in her 3D body. So the really cool thing is that when I mentioned these reptilian difficult and challenging lives that she also has memories and dreams of being in places, again, overseeing it. So I tapped into her being in the higher etheric states, and that's how she felt she saw herself when she was in Orion and Sirius during times of war. She was overseeing everything. She was watching the destruction of the planet. She saw an entire planet being decimated, completely wiped off, like burning, people dying, everybody leaving and fleeing. And she was just there, like in awe and shock, like, why is this happening? What can we do about this? Like, we just have to let it be. And she remembers having this memory, but not actually there on the ground fighting. And that is exactly how it came through to me in her chart. So it's super amazing when I am reading for these clients who are really intuitive, especially in their dreams, and they have all these experiences that confirm everything that I am seeing in their Galactic Astrology chart. To book a reading, you can go to dlkevolve.com, and I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Bye-bye.